Firstly, was it always your goal to be a sports journalist, and what was your path to get where you are now?
Yeah, I enjoyed writing when I was younger. I enjoyed English at school, and I enjoyed sport. So, kind of the two together made sense to me that might lead me down the path that I wanted to go down. So, yeah, it was good. Pathway was basically mainly through a guy called Richard Single, who was a life series reporter at the Hull Daily Mail for a lot of years, and kind of got to know Richard inadvertently, and then he gave me a day a week down there as a work experience, and things rolled from there really. So kind of got into it by being a volunteer and willing to do the not so good jobs, shall we say. So yeah.
Fantastic. Now, are you a City fan yourself? And if so, when you were working at the club, do you think that extra passion would help?
It's a strange one for me because first 5 years of my life I was raised in Middlesbrough. My brother was born there. My dad used to take us to watch Middlesbrough, so I've always been like a Middlesbrough fan really. But obviously always had an eye on City because I've lived here for the last 30 odd years. But I think any club you work for you become attached to.
Yeah. Because
your job's easier if you're successful and you're winning. It's more enjoyable if you're successful and you're winning. No one wants to be involved in, I was involved in a couple of relegation scraps with Hull City, and one that ended in relegation. It's not nice. So I think, and I think you have a natural passion for whoever you work for because you want it to be right and you want the job to be done properly. And I think sometimes it can be a bad thing if you're a fan because you become a little bit starstruck, for want of a better word. You get people who come into clubs who work there as fans who just want to be around the players and not really doing the job. So yeah, it can work both ways, that really.
Cool. You have experienced the highs and lows of Hull City. What is your favourite moment? And tell us a bit about
favourite moments. There's two or three really, which are hard to split. The first one was Yeovil away, which was the first promotion, the Ian Ashby goal. And being there that day, that was quite interesting. Press box had about 4 seats in, and we had to sit on these plastic school chairs, not too dissimilar to these. But that was a great day, because obviously that was the culmination of the hard work with the money that had gone in from Adam. So that was great. Wembley, obviously, 2008. Something that will stay in my life for a long time. Just the whole week really, the build up, the night before, the game, the post match. So that was really good. And then Arsenal away, the first season, 2-1. Partly because nobody really expected us to win. When we got there, nobody really knew where Hull was. So it was a little bit, you were there to make up the numbers. So to actually say that you were there that day when Hull City beat Arsenal at the Emirates, when the first ever visit to Emirates, is great really. So there's me, some other club staff, and then 2,500 fans that were lucky in. So those three, difficult to split really for all different reasons.
Fair enough. When Hull City were promoted, did this raise the amount of work for the media department of the club? Was there a lot more to do when they were?
Each division we went up, there was more to do. So when we went out of the bottom league into League One, there was more to do because we made the programme better, we made the website better. Then we went from League One to the Championship. We brought the magazine out, so that increased it. And again, the programme got a revamp and more pages. Then when you go from the Championship, the Premier League, you get a lot more day-to-day media. So really my job in that 2 years was answering the phone and returning emails, setting up interviews, setting up press conferences, chatting to journalists, chatting to players, taking players on appearances. That's all I really did. So yeah, the demands from the media, particularly Sky now, put all the money in, is a lot bigger in the Premier League, and you have to help them because they're paying everyone's wages.
Did the club take more people on when they'd been promoted, like in regards to the media?
Yeah, good follow-up question. Yeah, it started in the beginning. There was me, then there was me plus one, and there was me plus two. And when we got in the Premier League, we ended up with me plus three. A girl who worked with me who helped me with the day-to-day kind of management of the media and stuff. So yeah, we did, and then we took on a young lad who was, because one of the other big things in the Premier League is sign merchandise. So every week we have to go down with 50 shirts, 50 balls. So we brought in what we call like an office junior, and he picked up all those kind of jobs. So yeah, we ended up 6 of us in the end. So I mean, at the time, everyone was really busy, but then obviously when you drop into the Championship, a lot of those jobs don't need doing, which is why you then get redundancies, sadly. So.
You have mentioned in your notes that the club has dealt with both local and national media. Would you say that the standard of journalists are greater when dealing with the bigger media outlets?
Not necessarily better. I think they're just more profile. I think there's some good local journalists. I think local journalists take more care. They have a better relationship with the players and the managers. We had Phil Buckingham for most of the years I was at Hull City, very good journalist. Knows his stuff, researches, good questions, good demeanour, very polite. I think some of the national journalists sometimes are a bit, the word is really, obtuse perhaps. They're a little bit, they expect that you're going to facilitate their request because they are such and such from the Sun, or they are such and such from the Mirror. And really, from our point of view, that don't matter, because at the end of the day, if the manager says Nick Barnby ain't speaking to them, then Nick Barnby ain't speaking to them. So
would you say it was easy to work with local journalists?
Yeah, I think so. By and large, having said that, I wouldn't want to tar all the nationals with the same brush, because there are a lot of very good national journalists who are very, very good and very polite and very, work within the rules, if you like. Some of them don't work within the rules and just ring players, which they shouldn't do. But a lot of them, if you get to know them, they work with you. But yeah,
But if a national newspaper wants to speak to a player, does it have to go through the media team? They're not really.
They're not supposed to go directly to. That's happened before, but they're not supposed to. They're supposed to go to me, and then I go to the player or the coach, and then we go back to them and say yes or no. So, by and large, that's like an unwritten etiquette rule anyway. But you get national journalists with big contacts books who have players' numbers, who ring players and do stories, which doesn't help us because we don't know it's happening. So then if there's a bad story comes out, we don't even know he said it. So.
Regardless of the story type, if the newspaper goes directly to the player and the player says whatever, do they get not told off, but
usually find it's the person like me who gets told off by the manager, because they very rarely blame the players. But yeah, that's what should happen. They all know that, again, it's in their code of conduct and their player rules that any of your requests should go via me, via the manager, and then back again. They should never be doing interviews off their own back. But sometimes, for whatever reason, whether they're just forgetful or they don't care, that happens. More in football and rugby league, to be honest. But it does cause you a problem, because if you don't know what your players or coach are saying, it can come back to bite you. So that's why you need to know, really.
Now, as a media professional, do you feel there is a need today in the industry for a journalist to be more multifunctional? To have more kind of...
Yeah, I think nowadays there's a lot of the local guys now in newspapers are also VJs as well as written journalists. They come down, they do the written stuff, but then they also set up a camera like this on a tripod and do interviews as well. So then they go back and cut it, edit it and put it up. They also take pictures, it's put on Facebook and Twitter, on their website. So yeah, I think that's part of the cost cutting in the industry, whereby now, instead of maybe sending a photographer to everything, they send them with a point and shoot, or they send them with their iPhone. So I think that's becoming more and more the case, because there's just no money in it, and I think they have to cut people. So, but yeah, a lot of them now, I know at Hull Mail, that was a big part of it. They all had to train to use a little camera on top of a tripod for VJ purposes. So.
Alright, fantastic. Well, cheers for speaking.
No problem. Good question there. See, you got some questions off the back of other answers, didn't you?
Yeah.